All right, welcome back to the channel. Once again, I am Hall and I do travel and product review videos. If you're into either of those, yeah, check me out. So we are talking about Hyatt Ziva. Again, this is episode 3. Episode 1 was the resort and room tour. Episode 2 was all things food. Episode 3 is going to be activities. We're going to talk about, there's a bunch of things to do at the Hyatt Ziva. So once again, if you didn't watch episode 1 or 2, I stayed right next door last year to the Grand Fiesta Americana Coral Beach, and I'm kind of doing a little bit of a comparison. At the end of this episode, I will talk about which one I like better and the reasons why. So let's get into the activities. Okay, here we go. Activities. So I'll start in the pools, hot tubs, because that's like a, that's a main activity that you do at a lot of these resorts. So they had 3 different pools. It's kind of like the one right off the lobby, which has multiple pools. It has a covered one, it has a side one that has the main pool. So they had lots of going on with a hot tub. They have like 3 main pool areas. There's that one. There's the one that's for the turquoise tower, which is adults only, that's elevated above the lobby. And then they have one on the other side that faces the other ocean. And that also has a couple different pools and then also a hot tub there as well. So inside of those, they had games going on. They have like trivia things going on. They had music playing. They have water volleyball. So there's always a lot going on at the pool. Plus they have the pool bars. The 2 everybody pools, only one of them has a swim up bar. And that's the one closest to the lobby. The farther one, which is the one we mostly stayed at, did not have a swim up bar. They had a bar that you had to like get out of the pool, which was right next to the pool itself. Not a big deal, but if you're into the swim up bar, that is only at one of the pools. And the other thing with the pools is, I talked about this in the food, cabanas. You have to buy the cabanas. It's $109 per day for the normal size cabana. It comes with your own personal butler service, and they will let you order food as well from the menu. If you're not in a cabana, you cannot order food. You have to eat the food that's being cooked next to the pool, which was still very good food. It's just, it's specific. You're not going to get to choose things from a menu. And then, they keep the drinks coming. They bring you a vat of water with ice in it, with waters in it, or sodas, or beers or whatever. And they also, they also give you a face massage with the cabana. So if you order cabana, 2 people for the cabana can get face massages. If there's a large party, like we had like 16 of us there, 14 and a baby, and then 2 extra. So yeah, 16. So 17 total people. I can't do math today. Anyway, 2 in the party who have the cabana can face massages, but everybody can benefit from the cabana because you need to have like 3 different cabanas. We had lots of chairs around our cabana and we all kind of benefited from the lunch service and things like that. So just a little tip. I think that's everything for the pools. They were cleaned every morning. I got up pretty early and they were always down cleaning the pools. They were great. Temperature was good. And they're just beautiful. Landscaping and everything around the pools was excellent. So I want to talk about the beaches or the water, kind of around. This resort's really great because of its location. It's kind of on its own peninsula, and I talk about this quite a bit in the first video. There's actually like 3 different ocean settings. So you have your main beach. You have one of your main beaches which faces one side. You have another beach which faces a completely opposite side. And so in this scenario in June, one got seaweed, one really did not get as much seaweed. So they both had a little bit of seaweed because the seaweed's bad around this time, but one had way more and the other side did not. And with the seaweed, what was interesting is when we were sitting on the side that was bad with the seaweed, they had the people out there like helping to net the seaweed up, and people in our party actually went out to try it with a net and help them, and we were, they were raking it up and everything. And the hotel like manager came out and was like, he's like, the first time anybody's ever done that, and he was so thankful. We actually sent up some gifts and things to the room, but it was really cool to see like how we weren't just sitting there, we're actually trying to help, and they wanted to experience what it was like to try to net up the seaweed and things like that. So I don't know, it was a really neat experience, but realize that you have those 2 beaches and then you also have like a cliff face with rocks where the waves always crash into. So our oceanfront balcony faced that side and you have the constant sound of waves, and it was a really great place to take pictures and things like that. So if I cut out, it's because my battery died, and I will pop a new battery and be able to finish this video, just a heads up. So the beaches, 2 different beaches, because you couldn't, the rockside beach, you really couldn't, hang out with except for standby. This was great, obviously, because of the seaweed, beautiful water. blue water, especially when the sun was out. And then one side had a much larger beach. It was probably like, you know, a 100-yard walk to the water, because they had a rock jetty that they actually man-made with like big concrete blocks, because they said if that wasn't there, the tide that comes across where that jetty is, you wouldn't be able to go in that ocean because the rip tide's so bad. So if you get out beyond the jetty in the water, the lifeguards will be calling you back because you hit like a certain line and the rip tide gets really bad, because you can see the waves coming across. I mean, they're pretty extensive, but the way this peninsula is set up, you want to stay in that area where it's protected by the jetty and the currents are almost nothing. And there's a sandbar out there that you can get up and you can stand up. It's like up to your knees. So that side of the beach is really good. Just don't go too far out, as a heads up. Water sports. So they have kayak, scenic coast, they have paddleboards, they have snorkeling. That was all on the seaweed side. They have like a little setup there. And my battery's gonna die. Let me swap here right before water sports. All right, we are back. So water sports. They have on the seaweed beach side, they have like a whole water sports section where you get on paddleboards, you can get in kayaks. I did see people run around with wave runners, but I think that's a different area. I think you have to go to a place a little bit farther down to the beach for that rental. But you can rent those for money. The rest of the stuff I think is included. So you can also have snorkeling as well in that side of the beach. So there's, you know, lots of water sports. Fitness and sports. So they have a fitness center, which is quite extensive. It's really great. I used it 4 times. It's open 6, so it's 6 to 6, and it overlooks the water. You know, it kind of does. Like you can see the water through the window, but there's a walkway, and it's pretty far out, but it's pretty nice views. They have on-site trainers, which you can link up with when you get there if you wanted to get training. They have yoga classes in the morning, and they also have HIIT classes. I did one of the HIIT classes. It was an 11 circuit station where you had to kind of do 11 different exercises. It was really intense. I did it at 9 o'clock in the morning. It was hot and humid. If you're not used to that and you're doing strenuous workouts, it was brutal. I got through it. You do two rounds of the 11 circuits, so 22 total exercises, so it was pretty intense. It was a good time. So if you're into that, if you're into working out, they have great machines, great cardio machines, and the fitness center was gorgeous. Moodz is a teen lounge and club. They have VR simulators, they have pool, they have foosball. It's really a place where teens can go out. They have gaming systems and things like that as well, so you need to check that out. In the Kidz Club, they have supervised pool games, they have water volleyball, a mini water park, arts and crafts, video games, and beach excursions. So I did take some video of kids down at the Kidz Club. The kids in our group, not my specific kids, but the kids in our group, I think they only went for a little bit, but they were having a lot of fun with the pool, so they didn't spend a whole lot of time in that. Daily activities, they have water polo. I did not see that. They have Mulligan's VR golf, so if you're a golfer and don't want to actually go to the golf course, because whether the heat or you just couldn't get a tee time, they have an entire VR golf experience where they have a giant screen, and they have a tee, and they have lounge chairs and things if you're going with a party, and I believe you can play 9 or 18 holes of golf through a simulator. You can have drinks brought to you. It's air conditioned, like it's a whole thing, so if you're into that, they had signs all over the place. It looked like it was pretty neat. I'm not a golfer, so I wasn't into that. They have dance classes. You can learn Spanish. You can work on your serves. I guess they have volleyball classes as well, and they have underwater expeditions as well. So those are some of the daily activities you can check out. Live entertainment. Each night they had like a family-friendly entertainment. So right when you come out of the lobby, they have like big steps that they give. They put cushions down as like an amphitheater, and they have some sort of show, whether it's like circus, acrobatic, dancing, singers, all kinds of things. But the family went most of the time. I think went to like 3 of them. But yeah, it was pretty good. At the al fresco amphitheater is what they call it. And then freshly made churros and hot chocolate as well at some of those events. So keep an eye out for that. So special events, they have 17 swim up suites. So those were actually right below our room. So our room was on the 2nd floor, which was actually the 3rd. But there was a pool below us that people had swim up suites. They have 8 floating swim ups. They have 8 floating swim up suites, 17 total. They have 16,000 square feet of ballroom that could hold about 500 guests. And they have roof deck events that would host 450 events. So there was actually quite a few weddings while we were there. I think maybe 3 or 4. and they were always setting up for another wedding. And they have, even when like they had the music blaring and the wedding going, like by the time we were in our room, you know, it was pretty quiet. The only time it got really loud is when like the wedding party was done and they were in the swim up suites below us, and they were super loud till like 1-2 o'clock in the morning, which is a bit frustrating. But somebody must take care of it, because they finally piped down around like 1:30. So yeah, but like, you know, besides like the restaurants, the pools, and everything they would normally have at the resort, they also, you know, they have lots of different things. And because they have 3 different water sources, they have an area where they have a lighthouse at the end. You can walk out to it. It says at your own risk, but make sure you take your time and walk out if you're going to go out that way. You know, between the fitness things in the morning and the volleyballs, and they had like different pool games they were playing, and music and trade, like there's a lot going on. But if you don't want to be involved with anything, you don't have to. Like I only really played water volleyball a couple times during the week. I didn't really get into the trivia games or anything, and it didn't bother me. Like it's not like you're either in or you're not in. It's not like that. You can separate yourself because the resort is quite large, and the way it's laid out is, I think, excellent, that you don't have to be involved. If you're just going to relax and read or do your own thing, totally cool. You can live in that space and not be bothered as well. With the cabanas, they have lots of cabanas by the pool. They also have beach facing cabanas as well. We got one of each. We tested them both, and service was just as good at either one. It's just dependent on kind of what you want to do. The beach cabanas, we got them actually on both sides. On the one side with a seaweed side, they're actually like right on the beach. On the other side, they're actually on grass before you get on the sand. So you don't have to deal with sand as much. But the cabanas were a really good experience at $109 per day. They're a little bit pricey, but if you're splitting it up amongst the group, it's really not that bad. If you don't have a larger group, then you know it can get a little bit pricey at $110. But the perks that come with it are pretty amazing, and the butler services are on top of literally everything. So that was a great experience. So overall, activities, lots to do, lots of things for kids to do so they shouldn't get bored. Lots of things for parents to do as well, or if you just want to chill, you don't have to be a part of any of that, and you can kind of just enjoy the pools and the beaches and all the water, different areas. I didn't get to go to the adult pool. I did talk to somebody at dinner who they were staying in the adult only tower and experiencing the adult pool and bar, and they said it was excellent. So you have that if you just want to go as an adult and get away from all the families. That is an option as well. So those are all the activities. As always, if you have any questions specifically about any of the activities, the resort itself, transportation, or anything around any of that, leave them in the comments and I will certainly get back to you. But I think that's the 3rd episode. So that is activities. Episode 1, remember, was the resort and room tour. Episode 2 was all around the food, and episode 3 is about activities and all of the water and different things you could do there. So Hyatt Ziva, I wanted to end this by saying, so when I look at the Hyatt Ziva versus the Grand Fiesta Americana Coral Beach, both resorts were excellent. Grand Fiesta Americana Coral Beach is the reason we went back to Mexico, because of the service, the food, they're both excellent. The Hyatt Ziva did the exact same thing. So service and food was also excellent. So me personally, I would go back to the Hyatt Ziva before I'd go back to the Grand Fiesta Americana. Couple reasons. One, the main reason is the location. Having 3 different water sources is pretty incredible from just walking around. Like there was many times I didn't go to the gym, I just walked around the resort because there's just so much to look at between the way it's crashing on the rocks, or you know, the 2 different beaches. It's spread out nice. They said they were pretty full at the resort. It never felt like that. You didn't feel like you were on top of people, which was amazing because I don't like that feeling. I don't feel like feeling like I'm claustrophobic around people. So, and the food was good enough. Actually, my sister-in-law, she thought the food at the Grand Fiesta Americana was better. She thought they had better choices. I think a lot of that had to do with the poolside service. So the poolside menu was okay in the Cabanas, but the Grand Fiesta Americana had a better menu at the poolside. Now, from a restaurant to restaurant perspective, I think they're pretty similar when you're looking at the difference of the Italian food, you know, versus seafood versus this versus that. To me, there's more selection at the Hyatt Ziva than there is the Grand Fiesta Americana, but they both had similar quality of food, because there was nothing at the Grand Fiesta I got that I didn't like. There was nothing really at the Hyatt Ziva that I absolutely hated either. It's just, you know, we talked about in the food section some of the steak and things like that. But I thought food quality, they were very similar. I think the Hyatt Ziva takes it in a little bit more of the variety, except around the pool. The Grand Fiesta Americana wins at the poolside food. Even if you have the cabana, it still wins because their food was excellent by the pool as well. From the activities perspective, the Hyatt Ziva has more going on because of the multiple pools, because of the multiple beaches, because of the dolphins, because of, you know, all the things they can offer. They have more beach access, which is nice, because if you stayed at the Americana Coral Beach, you only had the seaweed beach. Hyatt Ziva, you had the seaweed beach, you had the beach that didn't have seaweed, and you also had the cliffs with the rocks if you just wanted to watch the water or listen to the water crash. So to me, the location and the activities portion, the Hyatt Ziva wins. The kids were happy at both. I was happy at both. And I think from a room quality, they're very similar. From a views perspective, they're very similar, except that obviously you have the cliff side. So we talked about it before we left. We would definitely come back to the Hyatt Ziva again. I don't think we would go back to the Grand Fiesta Americana Coral Beach as quickly. If the Hyatt Ziva was booked up, I don't think we'd have any problem going back to the Coral Beach, but we would choose the Hyatt Ziva over. So that's the end of this series. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If once again, any questions, let me know. Thank you to Caleb and Aiden as well for doing the episode 1 prequel whatever to the video, the little opening up interview. So we'll hopefully do more of that when we do the family vacations. I'll try to get more of the family involved because you don't have to just listen to me to talk all day. All right, I think that's everything. We'll see you in the next video. Later.